Hi, welcome to my channel. A slightly different video today, and this is a request, and I thought it was a really important one. And actually what I'm writing at the moment is based around this, not necessarily based around the law of attraction, but based around this topic. Achieving your goals. So it can be, I'm talking probably mostly, and because these are the requests that I've had a couple of emails, and I had somebody comment here and I thought it was a fairly important one, a very important one, because if I knew what I know now back then, I would have flown, honestly. Okay, so we are talking about achieving things, so getting certain grades that you need in order to go to college or university, how you're feeling about that, what you feel might be holding you back, how that probably isn't it won't be holding you back, not really in reality, because circumstances don't matter, and how we can get you past that and get you to where you want to be, and maybe you go a slightly different way around, we don't know. But so I'm going to break it down and talk about several different things here. So I'd say it's fairly important that you listen from beginning to end, because at the end I will add 2 techniques for you to work with, but I want to talk about the best way to use those techniques depending on how you're feeling about your situation at the moment. My very first thing I'm going to talk about is Harry, my son, and how he manifested an A-level BTEC course on one grade C GCSE, nothing else counted. He had his place taken away, rescinded, his offer rescinded, and then he got it back within, I think it was 2 days. He says it was 3 days, but you know, who's counting with that amount of time really? So I want to talk about that and how we did that, and then go on to just talking about other aspects of this and your feelings and how this is likely to work for you depending on how you're feeling. So let's just kick off, and then I will timestamp the rest for you, so if you just don't want to listen to this, you can go straight to the end. First of all, let me tell you what Harry's like educationally, what he is like, exactly the same as me. And we both have, I'm not going to call it an issue because it's really served us well, even though I may have thought it negative back in the day, but I didn't really know that I had it. I didn't know that Harry had it. And I don't like to put a label on things, but if you were to label it, I have all of the traits, and so does Harry, of attention deficit disorder. Not attention deficit hyperactive disorder, but attention deficit disorder. Again, I don't like labels. I don't consider myself to have ADD. I just say, wow, I have those traits. And I got that from when I was talking to a guy that I used to work. He had an office opposite mine. We were chatting one day as he was gazing out the window, and he said, you know what? I've got ADD. And we had this whole conversation. I said, really? And I hadn't really thought about it. And I had always thought ADHD. I never thought that there was an ADD. I didn't know that there was. And anyway, we looked it up online together, and we were laughing about it because he had achieved a lot as well. And I said, oh my God, that's me. Every single item. Wow. Absolutely wow. And the thing is, the likes of me at my age, because I'm 50 now, when I was at school and primary school was more about fun learning. It wasn't like it is now where you have targets, and it wasn't like that at all. So it wouldn't have been picked up on because school just wasn't, you didn't have to give everything so much focus, and you didn't get stressed about primary school. It was just a fun time. So it would have never got picked up on particularly. I was described as a daydreamer, and I still am, but because I just couldn't focus or concentrate on anything for a long period of time, and neither could Harry. So both Harry and I weren't any good with exams because you have to sit there and focus and answer questions and really sort of focus on what you're doing, and I've never been able to do that, and I can't do it now. But let's skip that. I'm going to go on to that a bit later because I'm going to bore you with that. So let's talk about Harry. So Harry wanted to do a media course. He's a video editor now, that's what he does for his trade, and he had always been editing videos since he was about 13 or 14, really enjoying that and making like YouTube videos about fashion and that sort of thing, just having fun with the editing. So he got really good at it, and he was a real expert in Premiere Pro, which is industry standard stuff, really good. And so he decided, that's the road I want to go down, maybe cinematography. He didn't know exactly what he wanted to do, but he thought it needed to incorporate editing because he finds that process really creative. So the course he wanted was a BTEC course. It's a college course. So you would do the 2-year course, and if you got to the end of it, much like an A-level, you get your qualification, then you can go on to university. He had decided that he probably wouldn't be going to university based on the fact that he cannot focus and concentrate on things for a long period of time. He has to go and do something else because he can't keep focused on that one thing. So given that he'd be going to university and going to lectures and stuff, he just decided that probably wasn't for him, but he still wanted this qualification. So he applied for the course, and he got a conditional place, which is, okay, if you get your 4 GCSEs grades A to C, 4 of them, one of them having to be English, then you have a place here. So So that's what happened. So he was excited about that, and I was thinking, I knew he hadn't really put in any work for his GCSEs because he struggled to revise. I was helping him revise. We were both struggling with it, and I was getting a little bit frustrated because I thought, how is this going to happen? Because, you know, he really can't focus, and both of us together, well, anyway. So, and I did keep saying to him, you're going to have to do some revision. And he didn't try to, he was into this then, but he didn't say, I'm going to manifest good grades. He didn't even go near that at all. And neither did I really, because my subconscious would have thought, you have done no work. How the hell can you get good grades? So, and I mean, no work. School for him was messing around with his mates, and that was it. Really, the only thing he ever found pretty easy was English. Anyway, so the time came, he took his GCSEs, the results came in. He didn't pass anything apart from one, and that was English. He got a C in English, and everything else was so low that it just wouldn't have made any difference. He wouldn't have got onto any course with those grades. So even though they were classed as passes, they weren't. You can't really look at them like that for considering what he wanted to do. So he had his place rescinded. He had his offer rescinded because, of course, he did. Anyway, so the college said there is a 1-year course which is lower down the scale. You're not and they went through what he would be doing, and he knew it all already. He could do all of that, and I thought, oh wow, you know what? It's going to be a waste of a year. But then I thought, okay, let's look at it this way. He's going to be doing something. He has a college place. Then he's going to shine. He's going to be the best in the class. Everything will be brilliant. So, and then they said, if you really shine at the end of this and you pass with flying colours, you can then do the 2-year course. So, okay, he would have been a year behind, wouldn't have been the end of the world. So he was really gutted, much more gutted than me, obviously, but I was just relieved because I used to worry about how he would get on and what he would do because I knew that he struggled. And anyway, so this happened at the college. They had to then sign for the year. We're driving home, and he said, shall we try and manifest me getting onto the A-level course? Now, I didn't for 1 minute think, oh, how the hell could that happen? I just thought, okay, let's give it a go. Literally, I was so open to it because, and I did think to myself, okay, I cannot imagine how this could happen because he does not have the grades. So I just can't imagine how it could happen. But that doesn't mean it can't happen because circumstances don't matter in any respect. And by this time I was so chill about the whole thing because I knew he had a place, so I wasn't worried, so I didn't have that concern going on. But he really wanted this course. He didn't want to be a year behind, and he wanted to learn more things. And he was saying, if I stay on this course, I'm just going to do a year of stuff I already know, and I'm not going to be learning anything, which I got. And anyway, so we both decided that we would do that. So this is what I did. I felt him being on that course. I felt that he was going to call me from college and tell me that he had been offered a place on that course. And I just felt it as if it happened. And then I tried to find the feeling that it is done. I couldn't do it right away, but I did it the next day. I found that feeling that it is done. And I thought, okay, intuitively, I feel that it's done. I can't do anything else. That's it. I'm not going to get stressed about it and start overthinking it. So I left it at that. He pretty much did the same, where he said really he just wished for it, just felt a strong wish for it and left it at that. So we did next to nothing for this. Now, I think it was 2 days later. He thinks it was 3 days later, but what does that matter? He called me. I had a phone call from him at college saying, you're never going to believe it. And I said, what? And he said, I've just been offered a place on the 2-year course, on the A-level course. And I said, what? Wow, that's amazing. And I was just really excited. I didn't wonder about it. I didn't think, what the hell, have they made a mistake? I didn't, oh my gosh, what if they changed their minds again? Didn't think any of that. I just said, that is so cool. So then I said to him, what was the reason they gave you? And he said, well, they didn't. They just said they think I'm capable of it. And he said, and I didn't want to question it, so I just went with it. And I said, oh, wow. So we don't ever really know. And I never asked his tutor or anything because I almost didn't want to, because I loved the magic of not knowing, just thinking, wow, how awesome is this? There could have been several different things because I guess he'd been there a couple of days so they could see what he was capable of. But still, the requirements were for GCSE grades, A to C, and he didn't get them. He didn't have anywhere near them. He just had one. And almost you'd look at that and think that's a bit unfair on the other guys that had to strive for that, and he didn't. But, it worked for him. He did the 2-year course. After the first year, they had an exam, and 35 of them had to leave because they didn't pass, but he did because he was interested in it. And he's much better when he's interested in things. Got to the end and got his media and creative production qualification. He could have gone to university. How awesome is that he could have actually gone to university? It makes me shiver when I think about it, on one GCSE, but he could have done it. And I just think, wow, that was crazy. So circumstances did not matter at all. The circumstance that he only had one qualification didn't matter to him. He got that course, he got the exam. So that is an encouraging, motivating story for you. Next, I'm going to talk about your personality. Let's talk about the pandemic. Let's talk about the fact that you have had 2 years of crazy learning, and really you guys have suffered so bad. I think out of all of us, you guys have suffered, and I know, you know, there have been businesses that have gone under and all of those people have suffered too, but for young people that are looking towards their future and feeling like that's been scuppered, I've spoken to people really devastated by what's happened and devastated trying to learn in masks and all that kind of thing. So I think you've had it tough. So that's the first thing. Let yourself off the hook, because you have had it tough, and not everybody is great at remote learning. I wouldn't have been. I'm not now, you know, I'm learning French at the moment, and I'm finding that, you know, I've kind of found a different way around it. Everything, there's always a different way. There's always a solution to everything. And with me learning French, I have signed up to a program. I do use that, which is great. It's a really good program, but I do struggle with it again, because I get to a point where I think I don't want to do anymore, because I've lost that concentration element, so I have to come away. So I've started doing it a slightly different way, and I'm using the law of attraction and the law of assumption in order to learn faster, and I do believe that's definitely working. I'm not going to go into that now, because I'm going to do another language one, and I'm going to show off some of my French in that one, just to show how you can use this in order to learn a new language. So I'm not going to go off on a tangent now. But there's always a different way of learning. So first of all, whatever let's say you have dyslexia, ADD, ADHD, autism, any of those things, so you're on the scale, the spectrum with autism. Now that will make your learning unique to you. That will mean that you learn differently, and that's okay. You know, I have learned that I don't learn in a normal sense. And if I'd have known that back in the day and I'd known this, I would have flown, honestly, because I know what I'm capable of. I've always known inside of me that I'm capable of really great things, but I've never really known, when I didn't know when I was younger, how to do that and how to approach learning, because I struggled with it, and this is why. But it doesn't matter. Oh my gosh. And I tell you what, if you do have something like this, and you do have learning, I can't say that I have learning difficulties, but I have learning challenges, definitely. Then with me, it's worked in my favour, and it works in Harry's favour, because I've done loads of different things. Because I can't focus on any one particular thing for a long time, it's made me go, okay, oh, now I want to do this, now I want to do this. So I'm doing all of these different things. I'm coaching, I'm Zoom coaching, email coaching, writing still, because I love writing, but I'm managing, I'm still running a digital media agency. I'm managing to do all of that, and I think I manage that well because of the way that I am. So let's just call it the way that I am. I'm not going to call it ADD, because I've never been diagnosed or anything, so we'll say the way that I am. And Harry's the same. So Harry has a couple of YouTube channels. Harry makes videos. Harry makes all kinds of different videos. Harry will do animation. He doesn't particularly like doing animation, but it's not his favourite thing, but he will do it. He's actually a really good writer too, so he could write, and he does some work for me, some digital stuff. If I need him to, he'll step in and do that, and he likes the fact, go between things. And my husband will say, it really frustrates him how we can't just do a task and get on with it, and how if he gives Harry a job, then Harry might take 2 days to do a 1-day job that Jeremy would do in a day. But I said, you've got to go with it, because he cannot focus for that long. He has to go off and do something else. Just let him do it, because he's creative, and he'll come back with something amazing. And yes, you've had to wait another day for it, but look what you've got. And he is really great at what he does. So first of all, embrace whatever your challenges are, embrace them, and think there's always a way for me to learn. There's a way for me to do this. Might be different, but I'm going to find it, and say to the universe, help me, give me inspiration. How can I learn differently? How can I learn in a way that suits me? And something will come to you. But now let's talk about manifesting. If you want, let's say you want to manifest good grades, and at the moment you think, I'm not on for good grades here. Let's look at it differently. Let's not say, I want to manifest good grades. Please let me manifest good grades, because your subconscious is thinking, you haven't put in the work. You haven't put in the work. You haven't been. If you haven't put in the work. And either way, this is probably a better way of doing it. Try to manifest, but feel that when you sit your exams, a lot of those questions you are going to know the answers to, because it's stuff that you have retained, stuff that you've remembered without having to go back and revise. And you're amazed when you take those exams at how easy the questions are compared to how you thought they would be. Because an easy question is just you know it or you don't know it. There's not really an easy question or a hard question, is there? There's just one that you might know and one that you don't know, or you can't remember, or you're not sure of. It's multiple choice. So you are manifesting that you are surprised at how much you know on that exam paper, rather than, let's say at the moment you feel like you haven't done any work and realistically you would get a D. I mean, I don't know, whatever country you're in, it's going to be slightly different, but let's say you would get a D, and realistically, for the work you've put in or how much you've struggled, Okay, but that's based on the fact that you're thinking that a lot of those questions I'm not going to know the answer to, and you're going to have to guess and you might get it wrong. But what if that exam paper, 3/4 of it, you thought, wow, I know that. So you're looking at it a different way. So your grade would be higher than you would think rationally and realistically, without you going, I want to manifest a high grade, because I am fascinated with the subconscious, and to me, it's all about that. And if you are fighting with a subconscious program or subconscious belief, so you're trying on one hand to do one thing, but subconsciously you really have this program embedded that says, but you haven't put in the work, you can't get the grade. I'm going like that because I feel like it's like a little program ticking over and over and over and going round and round and round. And you recognise that. So let's pull it back. I'm going to talk about 2 techniques now. So first of all, you want to talk to your subconscious. You want to have a word with yourself, okay? Because there is going to be something running in there, which is why you're worrying about it at the moment. So say, if you can't put your finger on what that program is, you say subconscious, you've got something running there, you have a program running there, and it's negative, it's going to impact what I want to achieve. So I'm not quite sure what that is, I can't put a label on it, but I'd like you to stop that. And then you suggest a different option to it. You suggest a different alternative. Actually, there is a chance I could get a better grade than this. It is possible, because I could know half of those answers. I could be so lucky that all of those answers, all of those questions, I know the answers to. So you give it an alternative version of events, because at the moment you've just got this program going round. So you notice it first, and then you give yourself an alternative. You can be talking to yourself, you can be talking to the universe. Actually, stick to talking to yourself, because you're talking really to your subconscious, and that's, to me, I guess it's the universe, it's all the same thing, but I would talk to your subconscious as if it's an entity. Now, do not worry that your rational brain is saying, well, that's nonsense because you haven't put in the work, because it will say that, but separate your rational brain, your rational mind, from your subconscious. They're 2 different things. So eventually, with this stuff, they do marry up and they do work in harmony, but at the moment it won't be, but that doesn't matter. Just ignore that voice, or say to your rational brain, give your rational brain a name, call it Bill or something. You say, look, Bill, I'm not talking to you, thanks for your opinion, but I'm not talking to you. And then give your subconscious a name, Pete. Don't know, that might not work for you, you might just want to call it your subconscious. But if you find it easier doing that, and this is what I say, find a way that works for you. There's no set way here. So you look at what you are looking for is the feeling of achievement. So here is the final part of this. Picture future you. Now let's go future you 2 years down the line. If you had this qualification, or you'd achieved what you're looking to achieve, maybe it's not a qualification, what would you be doing? Where would you be working? Where would you be living? What would you look like? What would you be dressed like? Find that you in your head. Have a conversation with that you, where that you says, it's so cool, I didn't think I'd do it, but I did, and now this is happening and that's happening. So just do that for 2 minutes, no longer than that, because you'll just mix up that vibration otherwise. And then what you want to do is transfer this you into that you. So your energy, and if this sounds a bit weird, I'm trying to think of a good way that you can do it. You can visualize stepping into that version if you want, tapping into that energy. That's all that you're doing. With me, I just kind of feel it, but then I'm used to doing that, and I work with feeling techniques. So do that in whichever way, and then feel the energy of that person. Future you has an energy, okay? And you're selecting it now by doing that. Future you has an energy. And then sit with that for a couple of minutes and just do that on and off. Maybe 2 times a day for a week, and then leave it at that. You don't want to keep doing it, overdoing it, because we don't want to encourage obsession, because then what's happening is you're feeling like you need it. But never ever think that this is it. You're young now. If you are a young person watching this, you may not be, but if you are, gosh, honestly, look, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I've done all kinds of jobs, and it wasn't until I got into my 30s that I started to feel like I knew which way I wanted to go. But then I didn't start writing, which is my passion, until I got into my 40s. But had I known what I know now, I would have been doing this. I reckon I would have been writing in my 20s, because I've always had that kind of urge to write, but was always scared of failure, I guess. And when I was younger, I was shy when I was young, and then when I got a bit older, I wasn't necessarily shy, but I didn't have any confidence, and I had the fear of putting myself out there and then it not working, which is crazy now when I look at it. So had I known about this now, I would have gone for it. I would have thought, I want to change, I want to be like this, and I would have worked at that, changing myself, and I would have done it. I absolutely know it. I would have probably had a publishing deal in my 20s. Truly believe that. I have worked for a publishing company in the past, and I have actually contributed to a published book, which is awesome. And I've got that in my office on my shelf. I mean, obviously, I publish books. I publish them myself on Amazon because I am a marketing specialist, so it makes sense for me to do that. But back then, it wasn't even possible to do that. So the guy that I did some work for, it was a music thing, and it was craft work. It was a craft work biography. They were a sort of a techno band, I guess you call them, back in the late 70s, early 80s, German. And so I have a mention at the front of the book, so I do keep that. It's really old now, that book, and that's brilliant. That was published by Random House. So anyway, and that kind of always has given me the encouragement, you can do this. And I didn't write the book, it was his book, but I just helped out with some typing up interviews and that kind of thing, and wording it in such a way that he could use it without having to do all of that himself. Anyway, that's by the by. There will be something for you, and maybe, sometimes when things don't work out, and we think they haven't worked out in our favour, they actually have. They lead us on to something else that we would have never thought about doing if it wasn't for this time. And also bear this in mind, look, if you don't get those exams this year, give yourself a break. So feel some relief inside, because that's what you're looking for here, is some relief, so that it's not a need and you're not grasping for it. Say to yourself, I will just catch up, and okay, I'll be a year behind, but I'll get it next year, and I'll find a different way to learn. If I'm struggling to learn, I will do that, and I will ask the universe for inspiration. So take the pressure off yourself, because honestly, you have so much time. And if you are an older person, you're looking to achieve a certain thing, go down the same route. If you don't do it this time, you can do it. If it takes you 6 months longer than you thought it would, if it's a project that you're working on and you're working towards an end goal, if it takes you 6 months longer, is that the end of the world? No, it's not. So really find any way to take that pressure off what you're feeling at the moment. So you're looking to take the panic away and to give yourself alternative versions of reality. That doesn't mean that the universe is going to say, oh, okay, they don't really want that enough now then, so they might want this instead and give you that other version. That's not how it works. Because it's only you know what you really want. And whatever you say to yourself, you're not really saying it to something separate to you. You're not saying it to the universe that's over there listening to you. You are saying it to yourself, because we're all part of the same thing. So you're just talking to yourself. You know what you actually want, but all you're doing by giving yourself another version is giving yourself some relief, and also opening yourself up to other possibilities anyway. If this doesn't work out, okay, there are other things. But even if it doesn't work out this time, it will work out at some point. It absolutely will. So please don't panic and think that everything is going to go to pot if you don't get this exam, or if you don't reach this goal at this particular time, because believe me, it won't. I have no qualifications, like nothing. I mean, I think I did about the same as Harry. I got one decent, I did get English language and English literature because I loved English and I found it easy, but nothing else to speak of. So I have nothing that qualifies me to have a digital media marketing company, only what I taught myself, writing. I have got no qualifications in anything that I do. Oh, apart from I am a certified life coach, but I just chose to do that later on in life. So that's completely different. And I could do that at my own pace, so that was cool. But, it hasn't held me back. And I've had several jobs as I've been growing up. But then I did work for a publishing company. I did several jobs within that publishing company that actually I did need. If I'd have come in as an interviewee and come in from outside of the company, I would have needed a degree to do one particular job that I did, but I got it with no qualification at all. So it's not going to hold you back. Nothing can hold you back, because circumstances don't matter. There's always a way. I hope this was useful, and the future you is so useful in any way, in anything you're trying to manifest in life, because future you has it. And so as soon as you do that, you've opened up that reality line, and it is a possibility. And as soon as you go with it and you feel it, like actually this is possible, it becomes probable. So, but then again, don't pin everything on it and think if it doesn't work out. The only reason it won't work out is because inwardly you're just not in that right feeling state. But it doesn't matter, because you will be at some point, and it will work out at some point. Just please don't think that whatever is going on now is the be all and end all, because honestly it isn't. Do you know what? Most of my friends, the things that they've achieved it later on in life. But again, if they'd have known what I know and practiced that, then it would have been different for them too. So that's it. I'm going to stop there because I could go on and on and on. And I don't know if I said this at the beginning, but my next book is based around this very subject. And it's not based around the law of attraction, but it kind of, I've incorporated some of that in there, but without actually talking about it because I want it to appeal to a much bigger market. Okay, so thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd love for you to do that. It may not be your cup of tea, may not be your sort of thing because it's completely out of the realms of what we're talking about here. But if it is, then that'd be awesome. My son Harrison Ellis has a Law of Attraction channel, which I will list below. And, you know, you might just pop over there and have a look at his channel just to see, you know, what you can do with no qualifications. And okay, just for a bit of encouragement, I write books all based around the law of attraction, all listed below, and that's it, I think. Thanks for watching.